All right, good morning. Welcome to Friday Morning Fuel. I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes just to get settled. We have a lot going on today and a lot of moving parts, so I'm going to try my best to really render a more Rachel Ray kind of production, so thank you so much for being here. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about all things pumpkin spice, so we're going to dive a little bit into how to make your own homemade pumpkin pie syrup. So that's going to be our recipe for today. And then we're going to be taste testing a couple of seasonal pumpkin flavored products. So we're going to get started on the syrup first. So thank you so much for being here, and let's begin. So a simple syrup is going to be a mixture of just equal parts water and sugar. Simple syrup is often used as just a sweetener, mostly in cocktails, but I believe that that's expanded a bit more to other beverages as well as food products. So to save us a little bit of time today, I already have my water and sugar mixture on the stove here. It is almost up to simmering to help dissolve that sugar, and then we're going to add in some more spices as well as some pumpkin to give it that flavor, and it's going to mellow for a few minutes. So our spice mixture is going to be a classic pumpkin pie spice mixture. It's made up of 4 primary spices. It's going to be cinnamon, ground ginger, ground clove, and ground nutmeg. Some recipes also use ground allspice, but I'm following the classic Starbucks recipe for a pumpkin spice syrup. So it's going to be about a tablespoon each of your ground ginger and your ground clove, and then 2 tablespoons of ground nutmeg. And then for cinnamon flavor, we're actually going to use whole cinnamon sticks, and we're going to toss that into that mixture once it's ready. For our pumpkin, I did do a test batch of our pumpkin recipe before this one going right now, and the first time we did our test batch, I did the pumpkin puree just straight into the boiling or the simmering mixture. And while that was fine, when we put it in the jar and it cooled, it wound up turning into a very rubbery texture because of all of the fiber, starches, and just pectins that remain in the solids. We didn't strain those out. So that's what we're going to do differently today for this batch, is we're going to strain out our pumpkin puree and then use the liquid as our flavoring agent into our pumpkin pie spice syrup. All right, so this is also a nice way to make sure that nothing goes to waste. Even though I'm going to strain out the liquid from our pumpkin puree, I can still use that pumpkin puree. It's not like it's no longer usable here. All right, so the way I'm going to strain it is I've got a bowl and I've got some cheesecloth. The cheesecloth is going to help separate the liquids from the solids here. I'm going to spoon maybe about half of this into my cheesecloth, and then with my hands I'm going to wring it out. There we go. Actually, we're going to go whole can. Why not? All right, so 1 can of pumpkin puree right into my bowl with my cheesecloth. Set that aside for a moment here. All right, so squeezing it out now. This might take a little bit longer, but as you can see some of that liquid that's coming through here. I'm going to squeeze out as much as I can for the sake of this. All right, so if you are paying attention at home, good morning, welcome. If you absolutely love the fall and all the pumpkin spice flavored items, I want you to drop in the comments which one is your favorite. It could be a food item, it could be a dessert, it could be a beverage. I am genuinely curious because I'm going to be trying out some pumpkin spice, pumpkin pie flavored products today. Okay. I'm going to wring this out just a little bit more to see if I can get more liquid out of it. As you see, I'm already getting like a pretty good amount. The Starbucks original recipe uses 4 tablespoons of pumpkin puree. Like I said, we're not going to use the whole solid pumpkin puree. We're just going to separate out our liquids and our solids. Good. All right, so I can hear my simple syrup mixture of my water and my sugar on the stove, that is already starting to simmer. So with our leftover pumpkin solids, I'm just going to put this in a Tupperware container, and then I can just reuse that for any number of things. I can toss it into oatmeal, I can toss it into my smoothies, you can bake with it. It's still perfectly usable, even though I've strained some of the liquid out. All right. Cheesecloth you can just get on Amazon. It's reusable, not disposable. So once I'm done using it for today, I'll just toss it into the wash. Maybe with a load of towels, maybe not so much with food, but maybe with a load of dish towels. All right, separate that. Perfect. All right, let's take a look at our mixture over here on the stove. So simmering means that we get a little bit of bubbles, but is not quite up to a rolling boil. So now that my mixture is simmering, we're going to add in our spices and we're going to add in this liquid, give it a stir, and then that's going to simmer for about 20 minutes total. Okay, so we got our juice, pumpkin juice. All right, we got our ground spice blend. Toss that in here. And then we're going to go with 6 cinnamon sticks. Okay. Of course, cinnamon sticks in a jar. Not super easy to come out. All right, we've got 1. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so this is going to spend most of its time over here on the stove, simmering. I'm going to let that go for about 20 minutes, so that's going to run us right up until the end of our segment today. What you can do if you would like to strain it again, sometimes the spices are not quite as finely ground. So I could, if I wanted to, I could take my cheesecloth and I could strain it a second time before it goes into a container for storage. This is what it's going to turn out when it's done. So as you can see, it's a very nice syrupy texture. And since it is primarily sugar, you just want to measure it as you would in teaspoons for a serving of sugar. So just grabbing a spoon, adding it to your coffee or whatever it is that you're going to use. All right, so now that that's going, let's talk a little bit about pumpkin spice and some of the origin story behind pumpkin spice. Why is it so popular? Where did it come from? So pumpkin spice is actually tied very much into American cooking, the history of American cooking. And that pumpkin spice blend has been dated all the way back to about the 1700s. Yes, it has been around for that long. The first couple of recipes that have identified using that blend date all the way back to the 1700s. All right, so basically, they found originally 2 recipes from an American cookery book by Amelia Simmons in 1798. And one of those recipes uses a combination of allspice and ginger, and the other one uses nutmeg and ginger. So eventually, somewhere along the way, cinnamon gets added in, and then we fast forward to about the 1930s. You get your spice companies in America, like McCormick, one of the brands still around today, came out with a product called pumpkin pie spice. So rather than buying all of your spices separately, bakers could just buy one product that contained all 4 or 5 spices. Very convenient. All right. So eventually, it started as just something that you used for pie, simple fall desserts, and it eventually evolved into something more. And so eventually, Starbucks started to come into the fray, bringing the idea to the company. Peter Dukes is actually credited with this idea. He was the director of Espresso. Did not know that that was even a title, but hey, for a coffee company, that probably makes sense. They're also responsible for the team that creates a lot of your favorite seasonal beverages, like the eggnog latte and the peppermint mocha. All right. And apparently, when they were developing the classic pumpkin spice latte, the Starbucks research and development team poured espresso shots on top of pumpkin pies in tasting different combinations to help determine the ratio of cinnamon and nutmeg to coffee and steamed milk. So, I'm not really a coffee person, but that's kind of fascinating in how they come up with those kinds of ideas. But it wasn't until about 2015 that Starbucks started to include real pumpkin in the pumpkin spice latte. Excuse me. All right, so that was why I wanted to ask for you guys. Are you a pumpkin spice fan? Do you like to use it? Do you like to drink it? Are you a big fan of just the classic OG pumpkin pie? So I personally really like pumpkin pie spice. Pumpkins themselves are a type of gourd, and so if you've ever had anything like squash, zucchini, butternut squash, those kinds of varieties, so they're not particularly flavorful. They have really great texture and starchiness to them, which means think of it as a blank slate. They're really good for just adding any kinds of flavors to them. But as things have evolved thanks to Starbucks and the entry of the pumpkin spice latte onto the market, now we have all kinds of weird food products that have pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice, and all kinds of other fall flavors have evolved. We've got more of the apple-themed, cinnamon-based desserts, drinks, and all kinds of foods. So that's going to bring me to the second portion of today. I'm going to keep stirring our our pumpkin syrup mixture over on the stove just to make sure that nothing cakes to the bottom and just keeping an eye on things. Timer's going for that as well. Okay, so I decided to, for today's theme, grab a couple of food items. And while I was shopping and doing research for this section here, it was actually very difficult to find a variety of pumpkin spice products. I feel like a couple of years ago was really when it peaked, when anything and everything, things that you didn't even think could be pumpkin spice flavored, were pumpkin spice flavored. So to narrow it down, and rather than just buying a ton of different products, I narrowed it down by type. And since I am not really a coffee person, I know that coffee creamer would have been a very easy option to do. I honestly did not want to have 12 different kinds of coffee creamer, and I don't think you want 12 kinds of coffee creamer in your fridge either. So we're going to be taking a look at taste testing some cookies today. And so I also have, to help kind of offset some of that sugary stuff, I did pick up a pumpkin pie flavored protein beverage. This is by the brand Rebel. So this is a plant-based spiced pumpkin pie protein drink. It's got 16 grams of protein, a smooth blend of oat and coconut milk, real pumpkin, and warm fall spices. So I've got a little bit of protein here to just offset some of that sugar that I'm going to be consuming, as I have not eaten breakfast yet this morning. So poured it out into a glass, little mason jar for some aesthetic and some ice. So here we go. I have not tasted this yet. This is going to be first sip. All right, so right off the bat, it's very creamy. Sometimes I really enjoy coconut milk, and sometimes coconut milk can be a little overpowering in flavor, so I do get a little bit of that coming through. It's really hard, like I said, so pumpkin pie spice is cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, ground ginger, and allspice, but most people really just pick out cinnamon, so that's all I'm really getting here. It's just like really creamy and a little bit of cinnamon flavor. But overall, not bad. It is a plant-based beverage, so if you are not accustomed to plant-based milks, they do have a little bit of a different texture and mouthfeel, and that's just different per person. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you want to give it a try for yourself, I picked this up at Target. All right, so Da-da-da-da. Let's roll on to our main event now. So I have with me 3 different kinds of cookies, all pumpkin spice or pumpkin flavored variety. So we're going to crack these open, give a taste test, and then we'll rank them based on which ones that we like the best. All right, our mixture over here is looking pretty good. We've got about 12 minutes left on that timer. So if you've got some extra time today, I am going to stick around and just do a final straining of our mixture before it goes in the bowl. So if you want to check around and see how that turns out, you're more than welcome to. Okay. So our 3 products, I did pick these all up at Target just trying to make it easier. Plus, I thought a major retailer would have tons of different options as far as the pumpkin flavored items. Like I said, it was very difficult to find a ton of different things. So we've got a Goody Classic Oreos. What flavor has Oreo not done, honestly? These have been opened. The person who lives in my household was very interested in tasting these. So these have already been opened. But they are a golden Oreo, so not a chocolate cookie, but I guess a vanilla-based cookie. And they've got a pumpkin spice flavored cream filling. Next up, we had to give it to a classic as well, maybe even better than Oreo in my humble opinion, Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm has this fall variety of a pumpkin cheesecake soft baked cookie. Love Pepperidge Farm stuff, even the hard crunchy, the Milano cookies. Yum, can't give it enough to that. All right, so pumpkin cheesecake flavored cookie from Pepperidge Farm. All right. Nice and soft. All right, and then the last one is going to be a little different. This one is a dipped cookie. Target does a couple of these for seasonal ones. So this is a pumpkin spice dipped sandwich cookie. Pumpkin spice flavored cookies with vanilla cream filling dipped in white chocolate. So very similar to our Oreo, and rather than the pumpkin spice flavoring being on the inside, it's going to be in the coating and in the cookie. All right, so we're ready to dive in. All right, so let's start with our Oreo first, since that's the order that I opened things up in. All right, here we go. Golden Oreo, so very nice, smooth pull, if you guys can see that. Nice. All right, so first bite. Okay, so classic Oreo. Good crunchy cookie. The cream filling is very, very sweet, very, very sugary. It's good. It's good. I don't know if I could really say that it's pumpkin pie, but it tastes like something similar. Not bad. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe like a 6. It's a solid Oreo cookie, but didn't really blow me away or anything. All right, so let's move it on to the Pepperidge Farm Pumpkin Cheesecake Soft Bake Cookie. So for size comparison, hopefully these don't fall apart. They're very soft. All right, I'm going to do my best here to try not to break one, but these are intensely soft. It's a very different contrast from our Oreo. Oh no, I might not be able to get a whole one. All right, so these cookies are so soft and they have so much moisture that they have all stuck together for one mega cookie. All right, so size comparison, it's about 2 or so inches long compared to our Oreo, which is about a classic solid inch. As I said, extremely soft, extremely moist. It's got these chunks in it that I guess are cheesecake or white chocolate flavored. Here we go, first bite of this Pepperidge Farm cookie. Okay, so right away, the base of the cookie, so different from the Oreo, the base of the cookie actually has the spices in it, which I think lends to a much better flavor profile coming through. I think the white bits are supposed to be like the cheesecake chunks. And so for that, it's actually pretty good. I'm definitely stronger on the pumpkin flavor because it is in the cookie rather than mixed in with the sugar where it gets overpowered. But I would say probably a hair above the Oreo, so I would put this at probably like a 7 out of 10, but not bad. Maybe a 6.5 because of the cookie being so soft. I'm not even kidding, they're all like one massive cookie right now. Okay. Mixture is looking good over here. We're still simmering. Nothing is sticking to the bottom. Excuse me. All right, let's go in for our last cookie here. So, right off the bat, I don't know if I have high hopes for this cookie. I was really just grabbing things that was going to add some novelty to our tasting because cookies can be very vastly different. But this is a dipped cookie, so very much, it's pretty much like an Oreo that's just been dipped in white chocolate. So very decorative. This one said that the pumpkin flavoring is baked into the cookie as well. We'll see how well that translates because, again, it's just coated into a ton of sugar. So first bite, it's got sprinkles, some kind of hard coating on the outside. I imagine when I bite into it, it's going to go everywhere. But here we go. First bite. All right. So very opposite from our cheesecake pumpkin cookie. This one is, oh, there it is. I was about to say, from the first initial tasting, it took a while to develop, but not very strong on the pumpkin pie flavoring. Also, this cookie is very, very dry. I can see why. I don't know if maybe the dipping it in the chocolate was to mask how dry the cookie was, or if it's a result of that dipping process, but the cookie itself on the inside is very dry. It's very crumbly. I know you're not going to be able to see this, but biting into it, it is not the sprinkles that fell everywhere. It is the actual cookie under that chocolate coating that did dissolve into just powder everywhere. So not my favorite of the bunch. It's okay, but barely. You know, if we're ranking this on a scale of 1 to 10, it's honestly like a 2 or a 3. So, you know, if you have any enemies and you want a petty gift, just maybe give them some of these cookies. They might really like that. I'm just kidding. Please don't do that. All right, so let's rank our cookies based on just how well they did. So none of them were really stellar. Our Pepperidge Farm cookie wound up being the highest ranked one at like a 6.5. Again, we would have given it 7 stars, but all of the cookies in the bag are just, there's so much moisture in these soft baked cookies that they are all stuck together. So that was quite unfortunate. Please excuse me. Next, we have our Oreo cookie, which was surprising. I did not think the Oreo would do as well as it did, but this came in second at a solid 6 out of 10. And then these Target brand cookies, the dipped cookies, solidly at the bottom with a 2 or a 3 out of 10 total. So, would I buy any of this stuff again? Probably not. I don't necessarily think that cookies are probably the best medium to bring out your pumpkin flavored fall themed food items. Please excuse me this morning. So if you do enjoy some of those fall treats, I would look more into maybe like just stick to a classic pie or a pie bar. Something that really keeps that pumpkin in it rather than just the essence. Pumpkin bread is also a great option. It tends to be very, very moist and just uses entirely that pumpkin puree filling. All right, team. So That's going to wrap it up for our All Things Pumpkin Spice section today. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. Let me know if you would try any of these products, or if you think you've had them before and they're trash, or if you think my ratings are wrong. Please let me know in the comments. I am going to finish up our syrup here. It's got about 2 minutes left. All right. Those of you on Instagram, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next month. We're going to be talking about intermittent fasting. So next month, we're going to dive into some of the research around fasting, some of the benefits or not benefits. Is it a placebo effect? So tune in next month for our Friday Morning Fuel section, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, my teams, folks, I'm going to stick around.